Oh man, we are live. We are live. Happy Saturday afternoon, everybody. I shouldn't even say Saturday because I'm going to put this up on YouTube, and whenever you see it, you see it. It doesn't matter what day it is. Bless me. Good afternoon, everybody who is checking this out. Shout yourselves out in the comments section. Tell me your name and location as y'all come in, and then we're going to get into it. We got a whole bunch of things that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk a bunch of current events. There's a lot of stuff going on. I want to talk about several current events, several topics. There's a lot going on out here. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. You coupon too. I appreciate you. So I'm going to put my daily motivation text line in here. If you want to get the daily motivation text, then you can just text me at that number right there. Krista, was good. As y'all checking in, shout yourselves out in the comment section. Tell me your name and location, and make sure you send me a text at that number right there so y'all can get the daily motivation text every single day for free. Thank you, people who like the hat. You can get this hat at workonyourgame.com/merch. As y'all checking in, shout yourselves out. I'm going to give everybody like 30 seconds. Then we're going to get into it because we got a lot of things to talk about. I got several topics I want to address here, and I might even let some people come on live and have a discussion with me. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how this ends up going. Maybe, maybe not. Heather checking in from Dallas. Shout out to Dallas. As y'all are checking in, tell me your name and location. We're going to get started in like 30 seconds. We got Alabama in the house. Roll Tide. Shout out to Alabama. I know anybody from Alabama. I probably do. I can't think of them right now. Shout out to Alabama. Shout out to everybody who is checking in right here. It is Saturday afternoon. Are you getting the text? Shout out to everybody who's getting the text. Colt said the book is awesome. Which book is that, Colt? Which book you talking about? I got a bunch of books. So whichever one you're talking about, everybody go get that one. Colt is checking in from Minnesota. Shout out to Minnesota. I do know some people in Minnesota. I got some clients in Minnesota. We got Jan checking in from Germany. Shout out to Germany. Shout out to Wiesbaden. Shout out to Hanover. Shout out to Frankfurt. Shout out to Stuttgart. I've been a lot of places in Germany. We got Jonathan, Irish, in Dubai. Shout out to Dubai. I got to get out to Dubai. Now here it's kind of desert out there. I'm not a fan of dry air, but I might go out there anyway. Jordan from Houston. Shout out to Houston. This is Thames checking in from Broward. Is that Broward, Florida? South Florida? Shout out to South Florida. ASAP Nappy checking in from Broward. Oh, Mirror of Motivation. Shout out to everybody who got the Mirror of Motivation. That book. Yeah, we sold a lot of copies of that one. So anybody who doesn't have a Mirror of Motivation, go to mirrormotivation.com. All right, so as y'all coming in, I'll keep shouting people out. But let's get into our topics. First of all, let me introduce myself. For those who don't know me, my name's Dre Baldwin. I'm a former 9-year pro athlete, author of 29. It's formerly 29. Now it's 31 because I just finished the ASAP Confidence book, the People Skills book. Both of those books were previously courses. Now I made them into books. They are done. But you can't buy them yet. They're on Amazon, but I put them at a really high price, so usually people will see them, but you probably won't buy them there. They'll be offered as bonuses and extras in a future offering, but they are ready. So now, if you look at my bio, you see it's not 29 books, it's 31 books, and I got more on the way. But I created this whole brand and framework called Work on Your Game. It's all about taking the assets and attributes and tools you need to succeed in sports and applying them to work in everyday life. And one of the things that, the basic tenets of my whole philosophy are discipline, confidence, mental toughness, and personal initiative. And if you listen to my podcast, which comes out every single day, it's called Work on Your Game, you probably know about those. But one of the things that a lot of people say they like hearing me talk about is when I talk about social issues and current events and things like that. That's what I want to talk about here today. I want to talk about some current events and some things that are going on. First of all, for a little bit of levity here, let me tell you a story from something that happened this morning. So I can see it right now, but this morning I was running. I ran like 7 miles, go over 7 miles this morning. I ran the Venetian Causeway, which is down here in South Florida. If you ever been to Miami, you know it's causeways that connect the city to Miami Beach. So I was running on the Venetian Causeway, and there's a sidewalk, of course, and then there's a bike lane, and then there's the cars lane. So this morning I was running. It's like early in the morning. It's like 6:30. So it took like an hour. So 6:30, 7:30. I ran in the bike lane, right? So when you run in the bike lane, sometimes the bicyclists who are riding on bicycles, they got to go around you because you're in the fucking bike lane. Now, I ran the whole way down, and I didn't even have not one person on the bike go past me because it was early in the morning. Then when I was coming back, a couple times people on bicycles went past me, but they had to go around me because I'm in the bike lane running. and they would say stuff like, yo, you in a bike lane, or no, you shouldn't be in a bike lane, run on the side. Well, I didn't hear what they said though, because I had headphones on, but I could see they were talking to me. So I had a couple of them say something, but I couldn't hear what they were saying, and I just said back to them like, no, shut the fuck up, keep driving, keep riding, whatever. And anyway, I think this is an issue for bicyclists. And bicyclists just get into this mindset. I guess they think they own the road. You know, when they ride in the street, the regular street, any of you who drives a car, you see a bicyclist riding in the street, what do you got to do? You got to slow down. You got to go around them while they're riding in the lane that the car is supposed to go. But then when you're in the bike lane, they get mad if you don't move out of their way. But I don't understand that. That seems like a double standard as far as I'm concerned. Personally, I have a bicycle. I ride bicycles as well. And when I'm riding my bicycle and somebody's in a bike lane, you know what I do? I go around them. It's fine. And it's not gonna affect my life or hurt me in any way if I had to go around somebody who's in the bike lane. But let me offer this public service announcement. Because it was a guy, he rode by, he said something, and I told him and his girl rode by. His girl rode by first, and she said something, and I told that bitch to shut up. And then he rode by, and he said something, and I told him to shut the fuck up. And then he said something else, and I said, well, get off the bike and be tough. And then he kept riding, and he tried to make a comment and keep riding away. Here's the thing. Let me offer this public service announcement to everyone, at least down here in South Florida. My name is Dre Baldwin, and when I'm running, I will run in a bike lane. And you bicyclists, you will just have to go around me. And you make a comment, I didn't even hear what the dude said. It doesn't matter. We could talk all day. I say something, you say something, whatever. Just don't stop. Do not make physical contact with me. If a bicyclist makes physical contact with me out here, I will run you down on that bike, and I will beat the shit out of you, and I will leave you laying on the ground next to your bicycle in the middle of the street. That is not a threat. It is a promise. So, again, you see me on the road, and I'm in your bike lane, go around me, just like cars go around you when you're in the street, and everybody can live happily ever after. But all that being said, now that we got that PSA out of the way, now let's get into the things that I really want to talk about, because that's something that just happened today. So it's kind of like a tongue-in-cheek thing, but that did really happen, and people got mad at me because I was running in the bike lane as if it's going to end their life that they got to go around somebody in a bike lane. Listen, cars go around y'all all day. So now all of a sudden you own the bike lane? Fuck out of here. Punk-ass cyclists. But anyway, now let's get into our actual topics. So down here in South Florida, yeah, of course there's space to go around. It's a bike lane. It's not like the bike lane is the only place you can ride. But anyway, let's get into our actual topic. So down here in South Florida, some of y'all might have heard, especially if you live in Florida, you might have heard about this. They got this new bill that came out. It's officially HB 1577. If you don't know by that name, you might have heard it by the name that the pejorative term they're calling it the Don't Say Gay Bill. Y'all heard about this, the Don't Say Gay Bill, from the governor of Florida, a guy by the name of Ron DeSantis. He signed this bill into law recently and goes into effect, I believe, is July 1st of this year. And what you have been told by the news, and ESPN even jumped in this. ESPN is just all over the place right now. But they have put it out that this bill is basically telling schools that they're not allowed to talk about LGBTQ at all. They're not allowed to teach it, not allowed to talk about it, not allowed to educate about it. This is actually incorrect, and I'm going to explain to you why this is right now. So first of all, when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, Florida got a law, because I heard about it the same way y'all heard about it. Through social media and the news, they're saying there's this new bill that Florida put out that says don't say gay. You're not allowed to talk about gayness or speak on gayness or say anything that's LGBTQ. You're not allowed to do it. That was the way that they presented the news item, right? That's the way we all heard about it. But then I heard Governor DeSantis, he was at a press conference, and somebody in the media was asking him about, hey, why do you have this bill that's called Don't Say Gay? And Ron DeSantis defended it by saying, well, he said, first of all, have you read the bill? That's what he said to the media guy. Have you actually read the bill? The media person had not read the bill, but they're trying to question him on it. So first of all, this is one of the reasons why journalism is failing. So you have people who are literally, they are getting paid a salary to be a journalist, but then they're going and asking questions about things that they haven't even read the documentation, but they're asking assumptive questions and don't even have the information. A journalist's job is to get the information and then ask questions, and then they're supposed to report to me and you what's actually going on. That's literally their job. These people they're not even doing their jobs anymore, but they're still getting paid a salary, and they're only doing half the work. Asking questions, not even having the information. So Ron DeSantis said to the guy, look, you can look up the bill, you can read the bill. It is not saying that you're not allowed to talk about gay, and then he says some other things. So here's what I did for y'all. First of all, two things. First of all, in the next few weeks, I have an episode on my podcast, Work on Your Game podcast, where I'm going to discuss this entire bill because I went and read the bill today. And here's a side note for all of you. That bill is only 7 pages long and is written in very simple language. So any of you could go look up this bill. Again, it's called HB 1577, aka the Don't Say Gay bill. The word gay is not even mentioned in the entire documentation. The word gay is not even mentioned. But the media has made this into Don't Say Gay because, they don't want to go against, they want to go against DeSantis because he's Republican and all this. Y'all know how it is in the media. So I went and read the bill. Here's the thing. Here's what the bill is actually about. It's not even about gay or LGBTQ or none of that stuff. You know what the bill was about? The essence of the bill. And again, go read it yourself. Don't take my word for anything that I say here today. You go verify everything that I tell you. The essence of the bill is about parents having rights and control over what is being done to, for, and with their kids in schools. In other words, if their kid gets any type of help or procedure, so if the kid gets medicine, or there's any type of health procedure, or the kid meets with a doctor, or a kid meets with a mental health practitioner, or anything is talked about when it comes to gay education, any of that stuff, if any of that stuff happens in school, the bill says that the parents have 100% right to know about it, and they have a right to question it, and they have a right to challenge it, and they have a right to basically strike it down if they don't like it. That is the essence of the bill, HB 1577, aka the Don't Say Gay bill. No, it's a Florida bill. It's the state of Florida. People are asking. That is the essence of the bill. You can read it yourself. It's only 7 2 5s. Bell for HB 15577. 1557 is the name of the bill. It's the state of Florida. You can look it up. Is a very easily readable document. Anybody can read it. You don't need to be a lawyer. The essence of the bill is parents have a right to know what is being taught to their kids in school and what's being done to them. So if your kid goes and sees a psychiatrist in school, that means the school can't hide the fact that your kid saw a psychiatrist. If your kid is given some medicine, the school has to tell the parent that happened. If the kid wants to get some kind of medical operation done or procedure done, or they want to get a shot or anything like that, the school has to tell the parent. They can't act like it's not happening. Yes, Bucks to Plenty got it right. That is a Florida bill, just got signed into law by Ron DeSantis. And the media is trying to tell y'all that this is a bill that says you're not allowed to talk about LGBTQ. That's not even what the bill is about. That's only one piece of it. The 7-page bill is only one piece on there that says you can't be talking about sex education at all, any kind of sex education with kids who are between the ages of kindergarten and 3rd grade. That is what it actually says. Read it for yourself. But the media has y'all thinking that they're trying to ban gayness or ban LGBTQ, and that's not even what it is. And the reason why I'm even bringing this up, and I think somebody asked a question here, said, do you have children in Florida schools? No, I don't even have children, let alone do I have children in school. But here's the point. The reason why this caught my attention, because I live in the state of Florida, but the main reason this caught my attention has nothing to do with even schools at all, or even Ron DeSantis, or even politics, period. It's just the fact that the way that the media has gone these days, this is the important point. The way that the media and what we used to call journalism is not journalism anymore, because these people aren't even doing their jobs. The way that it's going now is that they're taking a little piece from a big piece. They're taking all this information, they're taking this little piece they want you to think about and want you to pay attention to, and then they're giving you just this little piece, extrapolating it to mean something worse or better than it is, depending on what they believe, right? Because with the jabs, are the jabs going to keep you from getting sick, keep you from getting the virus? We all know how that turned out. Now they're taking this little piece, don't say gay, when the word gay is not even mentioned in the documentation. Do y'all understand what I'm saying here? And they're taking this little piece and saying, well, it's a don't say gay bill. That's not even what the bill is, trying to make y'all think that this guy, Governor DeSantis, because he's Republican, he's trying to ban gayness. So what they're trying to do is draw this picture in your mind that anybody who is not on their side obviously has to be Republican or Trumpian or whatever they're calling it, and they're against gayness. And now because LGBTQ has all this momentum right now, they're basically trying to draw a line in the sand between the two, because all they really want to do, because this is all a political thing, all they're really trying to do is get you to vote for them so that they can keep their politicians in power. And look, again, Donald Trump lost. Joe Biden's in what? He came in this is his second year. All right, how's it going? All right, it's up to you. I'm not asking you to answer the question. You tell me. this is all this is. And the biggest challenge with this has nothing to do with politics. I'm not in politics. I'm not a politician and don't plan on becoming one. Is that journalists are no longer doing their job. We used to. I don't know how old are y'all. I'm 40. I turned 40 years old 7 weeks ago. How it used to be for media was that we, as consumers, we could go to the newspaper or the news and we could read the newspaper or watch the news. They would look at everything that's going on because that was their job. They would look at everything, and then they would break down the parts that we needed to know objectively and truthfully, and they would tell us the truth about what's going on, and then we could basically discern from what they told us how we feel. All right, they told us the truth. I watched the news. They told us the truth, and then I could decide how I feel about it. All right, so now I like this side. I like that side. I want to vote for this guy. I'm gonna vote for her. I don't like them. I do like them. I could decide on my own because they would give me objective information about all of the things that was going on. That was their job. But now look at what they're doing. Nowadays they don't do that anymore. And this is journalists. A journalist's job is not to tell you their opinion. They can tell you some of their opinion, but a real journalist's job, that's the editorial's job. The journalist's job is to look at everything that's going on. It's 100 pages of information. They look at the whole 100. Then they break it down to like 3 pages. They tell you all the pertinent information, the objective facts, why it's happening, what's happening, who did what, and then they let you decide. They just give you the information. You decide for yourself. That is what a journalist is supposed to do. What are journalists doing now? Nowadays, journalists, not only do they look at they don't even look at the 100 pages. They don't read it. They look at 2 pages of the 100, and then they pull out the opinion that they want you to have, and then they extrapolate it and make it seem better or worse than it is, and then they just pound you over the head with it over and over again to the point that you feel like something's wrong with you if you don't agree with it. That's where journalism has gone, and that's where we're at right now, and that's why, for you and I as consumers, the most important thing that we got to understand these days is that we got to do all this extra work just to know the facts. See, it used to be if you wanted to know the facts, you picked up a newspaper or you turned on the news. When I was a kid, again, I don't know how old some of y'all are. Some of y'all only grew up in the era where we all had no phones and stuff like that. But the era that I grew up in, when I grew up, we talking the 90s, we had a TV in the kitchen. And we would sit as a family every night and we would eat dinner and there was a TV and the news was on. And the news would just tell you what happened. And then my parents, they were voters and all that stuff. They got to decide how they felt, but it wasn't all this shock and awe. It wasn't all this hype. It wasn't all this. These people are bad. These people are good. That was for the consumers to decide. The media doesn't tell you who's good or bad, who's right or wrong. The media just tells you what it is. Then you get to decide for yourself. The problem that we have now is that the media is deciding for you what your opinion is supposed to be, and then they tell you what your opinion is supposed to be, and then you take that opinion, and then you think you came up with your own opinion. You think that you're thinking independently when a lot of times a lot of people are not, because they're just throwing stuff out there and just telling you what your opinion is supposed to be. So this is the biggest challenge that we have with media these days, is that they're not even giving you objective information. So let me see, I had a couple people come in confident. Yeah, fear is profitable 100%. And this is 100% what's happening here. Somebody said, have I ever Edward Bernays, is he the advertising guy? Is that Heather? H-Red 1026. Is he the advertising dude? I think I know who you're talking about. I've heard of him, but I don't know if I know I haven't read any of his book, but I know I've heard the name, that he was the guy who kind of got the modern media to be what it is. So Heather, I think that's Heather. Tell me if that's who that guy is who you're talking about. It says, Trump by what's for sale. Fear is not only sellable, it's also very profitable. 100%. That's why they say if it bleeds, it leads. That's 100% what it is. So this is where the media is kind of fucking over the consumer, to where we aren't even allowed to make our own decisions now. We can still make our own decisions, but here's what y'all got to do. Now, since you can't go to Censor of Self, yes, I saw that documentary, Heather. I need to find his books, though. I need to read some of his books. I did watch that. I think it was on Netflix. I remember watching it. But here's what we got to do now. Now we got to do all this extra work. So now, since we can't depend on the journalists to read the bill and tell us what it actually says, now you got to go read the bill. So the next time they tell you that this documentation says this or it says that, don't take their word for it. Get the name of the document, then you go look it up, just like I had to do. So when I heard Ron DeSantis say, did you read the bill? He asked the media guy that. I said to myself, you know what? Before I come to a conclusion about this, before I even have an opinion, let me get the information. So I went and looked it up. And this morning I read it. Again, it's only 7 pages, so you can go read it, see what it says for yourself. It's all about giving power to the parents as to what's happening in the schools. So I'll give y'all an example. I don't know if any of y'all saw the Sex and the City, like the new Sex and the City show that they came out with on HBO. It's terrible, but I did see it. But anyway, the new Sex in the City, it was a segment in there where it's super woke everything, Sex in the City. And Charlotte's daughter decided that instead of being a girl, she wanted to be a boy. And the way the scene went, and it's basically very endemic of what I'm talking about here. The way the scene went is that the girl decided to be a boy. So Charlotte and her husband, man and the mom and the dad, they go to the school and they're talking to the teacher about their daughter wanting to transition from being a boy, from a girl to a boy. And the teachers are basically telling the parents, this is what it is. This is what you have to do. This is what you're allowed to do. This is what you're not allowed to do. That's what Ron DeSantis is trying to stop from happening. Like, I'll be damned. I don't have kids, but if and when I do, I'll be damned if I go to a school and some motherfucking teacher is going to tell me what I'm going to do with my kids. Like, we're going to have a physical altercation. Like, no teacher is going to tell me what I'm going to do with my kids. So that's why I'm glad I live in the state of Florida. And Ron DeSantis signed this bill into law, because that's ridiculous. The teachers aren't going to tell me how I'm going to parent my kids. I pay taxes. My tax dollars pay for the school. And my tax dollars pay the money that goes into the teachers' paychecks. They're not telling me what it is. I'm telling you what it is. In business, and school is a business, the person who is paying the money is the person in charge. If you're putting the money up, you make the rules. The taxpayers are the ones making the rules. So all of you need to remember, if you're in school, especially in college where you're paying money, those teachers and those professors, they work for you. You do not work for them. They're not the bosses. You're the boss. You pay the money. You are in charge. If you are a parent and you have kids in school, like a public school, like high school, elementary school, middle school, you are the boss. The parents are the bosses. So that's why you go to the parent-teacher meetings. You go to the board meetings. You go to the school. If you feel like something's being done wrong to your kid, you go to that school and you cuss those teachers out and you get in that principal's face and you don't let them ignore you, because that's your money. Like, they're getting paid with your money. You don't let them tell you what it is. You tell them what it is. And again, I'm not even a parent, but this whole thing, this is just simple, basic principles of the way that people operate, and simple business, and also just simple critical thinking. And I feel like critical thinking is kind of being canceled out these days because people are not even realizing what's being done to them. So I feel, because I have a platform, because I notice these things, that I want to talk about these things. Bell said, he said previously, real news comes to you. You don't have to watch the news. Because watching the news ever saves your life. News informs. Exactly right. If something's real news, you will know about it. You'll find out about it. But at the same time, Bell, let me be clear. Let me also offer this caveat that if you're not paying attention to what's going on, then sometimes they sneak this stuff under your nose. So just like this whole "don't say gay" thing, they're making it seem like it's one thing, but it's actually another thing. So when you hear about it, make sure you go get your own information. So that's the biggest thing that I want y'all to understand on this point, is get your own information. This is what we got to do these days. You must go get your own information. If you hear about something, go read the documentation yourself. Do not take anybody's word for it. Don't take anybody's word. Don't take my word. Don't take the news's word. Don't take the government, the president. Even if it's somebody you like, even if it's somebody you voted for, don't take their word for it. Go get your own information. So that's the first point. Let's move on to the next point. So right now we know that there's a new Supreme Court justice that Joe Biden has appointed or recommended. Nominated. He's nominated Miss Jackson Brown. I think it's Ketanji Jackson Brown, to be the new Supreme Court justice. Now, she's black female, and she's been going through hearings. So this is the process with Supreme Court justices. They go to a hearing and they get questioned and grilled and all this stuff, and then they have a vote as to whether she's going to make it or not make it. I thought that this was pretty much a foregone conclusion that she would be voted for and affirmed, but it looks like maybe she won't be. There's a bunch of people saying they're not going to vote for her, but we'll see what ends up happening. I think she may end up getting it anyway. But the biggest thing that happened is, yes, and Bucks and Plenty, you know exactly what I'm about to talk about. She got asked by a senator. I'm assuming this is a Republican senator. I don't know who this woman was. She said to Judge Brown, "Can you define what a woman is?" And Judge Brown, this black woman, and let me back up. Joe Biden said, when Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, Joe Biden said, "I am going to appoint a black woman to the Supreme Court." That was his announcement. He announced that way back before we even knew who it was going to be. His whole thing, I'm going to appoint a black woman. Of course, he brings in Kamala Harris as his vice president. So his whole thing is, I'm going to bring in a black woman. That's his whole thing, right? Joe Biden. So he says, I'm going to bring in a black woman. So he brings in this black woman to be the judge. She goes to the hearing, and she gets asked, okay, can you define woman? Because we know that this man, William Thomas, at University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia, my hometown. He's swimming on the women's swim team, won a bunch of championships in the NCAA championships this past couple weeks ago, and everybody's acting like they don't know nothing. ESPN didn't even talk about it. And now she gets asked, this judge gets asked, can you define what a woman is? And first of all, she pauses as if she doesn't understand the wording of the question. Like she didn't, like somebody speaking a different language. She says, can I define what a woman is? As if she didn't understand the question. And then the woman said, yeah, can you define what a woman is? And she said, I cannot define what a woman is. I'm not a biologist. That was her answer. I cannot define what a woman is because I'm not a biologist. That was her answer. She can't define what a woman is. So, I mean, and of course, you know, you get on social media, people got all kinds of jokes to go along with that one. But this is the kind of stuff that I normally wouldn't even be paying attention to. But here's why it's an issue. Especially any of you who's a female, any of you who has kids who are females. What if your daughter is playing a sport? What if your daughter is playing basketball and some boy who's 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, like Matthew Thomas, decides, I'm not a boy anymore, I'm a girl. Then they get on the basketball team, they're dunking on everybody. And your daughter now didn't make the team because she would have been on the last spot on the roster, but the boy took her spot. Now your daughter can't play high school basketball, or your daughter doesn't make the college team, or your daughter doesn't get that college basketball scholarship. Now you got to pay $80,000 to send your kid to college when she would have went for free had she got that scholarship, but some boy took her spot because the boy decided he was a girl 2 days ago. Now he's on the girls team, and everybody's got to act like this is okay. This is the kind of stuff, and this is we could say that this is a slippery slope, but we just watched it happen. We just watched this happen on a college campus, and now you have this woman who's going to step to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court is, listen, not every case even makes it to the Supreme Court, but there's a great opportunity. Somebody who is a parent of one of these girls who didn't make it in the NCAA championship just now could bring a lawsuit against the University of Pennsylvania, against the Ivy League, against the NCAA, and it could go to local court, circuit court, district court, federal court, Supreme Court, and this could become a big deal. This could really become a thing, and there's only 9 people on the Supreme Court. So let's say that this woman, Ms. Brown, who doesn't know what a woman is, and here's my take on that, her saying that she doesn't know what a woman is, that she knows what a woman is. All right. She got appointed because she's a woman, or she got nominated because she's a woman. She knows that she's a woman. She has a daughter. There's a picture there where her daughter and her husband sitting behind her. So clearly she knows that she's a woman. Right? She can have kids. So she knows what a woman is. She has a vagina. She was born with one. She has ovaries. All right, she's a woman. She knows that. The thing is, she didn't want to commit to anything of saying what a woman is because she commits to it. Now she got to stand on it, and she got to stay with that the rest of her career. She didn't want to do that, so she's basically trying to give herself as much wiggle room as possible in the situation. Politically, I understand what she's doing, but at the same time, on a moral level, a logical, reasonable level, it's a dangerous precedent because if she gets nominated, she ends up on the Supreme Court. That could be the one vote that swings this whole thing. Let's say this goes to the Supreme Court. Some boy, let's say I decide I'm a girl. You know, I'm going to come out of retirement from basketball and I'm going to play in the WNBA and win the MVP. And now it goes to the Supreme Court. Am I allowed to play in the WNBA or am I not? And she's the one who says, well, I don't know what a woman is. A woman is, being a woman is fluid. It's a fluid thing now. And here's what's crazy. You know, growing up, we were taught that a boy has a penis, a girl has a vagina. And 99.9% of human beings have one or the other. Now, are there some abnormalities that people get born with both or neither? I'm sure there are. I don't know anybody who fits that description. But here's the thing. Now, when you Google it, right? You Google what is a woman. Here's the things that you start to see. You see these articles that say, well, you've been taught that having 2 X chromosomes makes you I forget which one it is. 2 X's is a woman and XY is a man. I think that's what it is. Or I might have it backwards, but y'all get the point. 2 X's is a woman and XY is a man. Now you got all these articles that say, no, not so fast, my friend. Not so fast. Having an XY doesn't necessarily mean you're a woman. It's fluid because it can change over time and there's a range of it and this can happen and this can happen. And then these people have these long explanations. These scientists have these long explanations of how just because you have certain chromosomes doesn't necessarily mean you're a woman or necessarily mean you're a man. And this is what happens. So this is the slow roll here. This is what they do. they slowly start to change the definitions of these terms, and they slowly start to insert doubt into your mind. Okay, you thought it was this, but it's actually this. So having a penis doesn't necessarily mean you're a man, and having a vagina doesn't necessarily mean you're a woman. It can mean this, it can mean this. So there's a range, and you could be this way now, but you could change over time, and how you feel from day to day. All right, this is all bullshit. It's all bullshit. If you are born with a penis, you are a male, and if you are born with a vagina, you are a female. When you grow up, you're a man, and when you grow up as a female, you are a woman. This is what it is, and we don't have baselines these days. And I'm gonna get to that in a minute. The challenge with this is this woman is saying she doesn't know what a man is, and this is going to lead to all kinds of challenges. And one of the things that most perplexed me about this whole situation is during the previous, not Amy Coney Barrett, but the guy before that, Kavanaugh, right? Justice Kavanaugh, he gets nominated, and the whole blow up about his nomination was what? This woman said back in like 30 years ago, 40 years ago, she claims that he sexually assaulted her at a frat party 30, 40 years ago, right? Wasn't that the whole thing? That he sexually assaulted her, and he said he didn't, and they go back and forth. He eventually gets on. But the whole thing during that period, and this was brought on by President Barack Obama, was believe all women. Wasn't that the whole thing? Believe all women, women this, women that. We got to support women, we got to defend women, we got to believe women, we got to defend women, especially women of color, especially minority women, especially marginalized women. The whole thing is believe all women. I'm trying to figure out, this is the part that I don't get. Somebody help me out with this. How is it possible that the whole thing during Obama, the whole thing during Kavanaugh, even Donald Trump, because Donald Trump had the whole thing, grab her by the pussy, right? Donald Trump said that on some clip, and he said it was locker room talk, but then women did a whole march. Right here in Miami, right on this damn street, there was a march. Right after he got elected in 2016, there was a march with a bunch of women wearing pink pussy hats to basically demonstrate against Donald Trump, because it was all believe women, support women, fuck anybody who's not supporting women, fuck anybody who's not going against and defending women. How are these people, these same people who said defend women, believe women, this man, Matthew Thomas, decides I'm not a man anymore, I'm a woman, I'm going to get on a women's team and swim against women and beat them and win medals and take pictures and get media coverage from ESPN. Where are these people at? All these people who want to defend women, where are these people at now when this man is beating them in swimming and everybody's supposed to turn a blind eye to this? Where are these people at? What happened to them? Where are they? Can somebody help me out? Somebody help me out with this. How when Kavanaugh was coming up, it was believe all women. Now you got swimmers on the women's UPenn swim team who they're scared to speak up and say they don't want Matthew Thomas on the swim team because they know they'll get canceled and kicked off the team and kicked off campus. Where's believe all women now? Where's defend all women now? Where's all the other slogans about women? Where's all this now? Where's Michelle Obama defending these women? Where is Kamala Harris defending these? Look, the vice president's a woman. Where is she defending this? Why is Ketanji Jackson Brown, or Brown Jackson, I'm getting her last name mixed up. Where is she in defending these women? Where are they at? Where are all these women advocates at? Where's ESPN on this? ESPN got all these women working there. All right, where's Maria Taylor? Where's Rachel Nichols? Where's Malika Andrews? Where's Elle Duncan? What's Jalen Rose's wife? What's her name? Molly. Where's all these women at? Where's Stephen A. Smith? Where are all these people who want to defend women? What happened to the girl dads? Remember a couple years ago they had the girl dad thing? Because I know Kobe, he got like 3 daughters. He's passed away now, and one of his daughters passed when he passed, but 2 of his daughters still alive. It was all about girl dads. Remember a couple years ago they had the whole hashtag about girl dads? Any man who had a daughter and they was taking pictures with your daughter and showing off how you're a man supporting women. The whole thing was girl dad this, girl dad that. Where are the girl dads at? Where are y'all at? Where are the girl dads at that are supposed to be supporting and defending women when you got a man who decided that he was a woman? He just decided, I'm a woman. He just decided he's a woman, got on the team, and is beating all the women, and now the girl's scared to speak up. Where's all the men? That's what I want to know. I talked about this a little bit in the live that I did last week, in that the natural order of things is the man is the leader. The natural order is the man in a leadership position and the woman in a supporting position of a man. That does not mean that a woman is lesser than a man. It means she's in a supporting role. The same way that Scottie Pippen is in a supporting role to Michael Jordan. Doesn't mean Scottie Pippen is less of a man. It just means this is your role. Every team has roles. In a relationship, the man's role is in a leadership position. The woman's role is in a supporting role. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just like you got a COO, and you got a CEO, and you got a COO. You got a president, and you have a vice president. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the vice president. It just means you're in a supporting role. Where are the men at that's supposed to be stepping up and leading? How are y'all sitting there watching this? A man decides he's a woman, and ain't nobody say nothing. Nobody said anything, and they just let this go the whole season. This dude went and swam, won all these medals, and ESPN won't say anything. Stephen A. Smith ain't say nothing. Jalen Rose ain't said nothing. Randy Moss crying on TV. Randy Clark crying on TV. Kirk Herbstreit crying on TV. None of these guys said anything about any of this. New York Times, nothing. How is nobody saying anything about this? How is there no open public discourse on this subject? This woman's about to get nominated to the Supreme Court, says nothing. Joe Biden says nothing. Kamala Harris, black woman, nothing. Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, nothing. Nobody's saying anything about this. How is this possible? I just don't understand this. How is it possible? And Money May says all photo ops and capitalizing off the woke and left wing mentality. Yeah, I understand that, but everybody ain't woke and left wing. What about the people who ain't? Where are they at? That's what I want to know. Where are all those people at? And forget the left wing. It ain't about politics. This is about just simple morality. If you got a daughter who plays sports and you just watch that happen, how could you sit there and let that go? That's what I'm trying to understand. If you have a daughter or a sister or a mother, how are you going to sit there and let that go? That's the part that I'm trying to understand. Men, this is not about the women. This is about the men, because Leah, a.k.a. William Thomas, that's a man. How could you as a man sit there and watch that man swim against women and not say anything? How is people just letting that go? And this takes me to my next point. This is why we need SOPs. You don't know what that means. It means standard operating procedures. Standard operating procedures is just like, any of you ever had a job? Any of you ever been on a sports team? Any of you been anywhere? Or you live somewhere? You live in a community. You move into an apartment building. You get a job. You go to a school. Any organization that you're a part of, there's a set of rules. There's standard operating procedures. Right here, like I'm looking outside, I can see a bunch of cars at a stoplight right now. That's a standard operating procedure. What is the standard operating procedure at a stoplight? When you come to a red light, you stop. When the light turns green, you go. Why do we have those? So that the people on the other side, they have a green while you have a red, they can cross the damn street without getting hit by a car. Or they can cross the street without there being a car accident, because everyone is operating by standard procedures. If we can't agree on what the standard operating procedures are, what results is, what we get is the fourth law of thermodynamics. We call it entropy, which is, in other words, it is chaos. When there are no standards, we get chaos. When we can't even agree what is a female and what is a male, then we get ridiculous shit like a man deciding that he's a woman and tomorrow is just dominated. Again, this is the example that I use. What if LeBron James, because he said he wants to play till his son gets to the NBA. So let's say he does that, and then LeBron decides to retire from the NBA, and then he decides, you know what, my name ain't LeBron no more, my name is Lisa. And he decides he's Lisa James, and then he joins the WNBA, averages 40 points a game, and wins the MVP and the championship. We supposed to just act like that's cool? Because he was a man 2 days ago, now he's a woman, and he won the championship, and we just supposed to let that go? Again, this is a slippery slope idea that I'm offering, but if we just watch them do it in swimming, who's saying it ain't coming to soccer? Who said it's not coming to boxing? Who said it's not coming to basketball? Who said it's not coming to wherever else that is women this, women that? Or what if Joe Biden says I'm nominating a woman for the Supreme Court, and then he nominates a man who decides to become a woman? Didn't that just happen? That Time Magazine gave Woman of the Year to, I don't even know, who was that guy? Somebody has to know who was that white man who's in the military who got Woman of the Year from Time Magazine. That white man is in the military, and they got a picture of him on the cover of the magazine. Somebody tell me who that was. But that's a man. That is a man who decided that he's a woman. They gave him Woman of the Year. Here's the part that's crazy. There are women out there who are qualified for that award who didn't get it because they gave it to a man. And so all of y'all who are these female advocates, y'all going to sit there and just watch men decide that they're women? No, not Bruce Jenner. That was Bruce Jenner was like 6-7 years ago, but that was bullshit too. AJ, who you're talking about, it was one that just happened like 2 weeks ago. And somebody knows who that was. It's a military person, and they got on the military suit and all that, and they're on the cover of Time Magazine, and they got Woman of the Year. Let me look it up. But that's the kind of shit, and this is the whole point. Where are the standard operating procedures? I'm looking this up. Time Woman of the Year is, who is this person? No, I don't see it. If somebody knows who it is, somebody tell me who it is. I'll find out. But anyway, that Woman of the Year, it was either Time Magazine or might have been People Magazine. We need standard operating procedures. Standard operating procedure says, okay, red light, green light. We all understand that, right? That we all understand, all right, don't steal something from a store that doesn't belong to you. Don't break into somebody else's house. No, don't violate another person's rights. Those are standard operating procedures that allow us to have society to where it doesn't have to be a cop watching every interaction for people that conduct themselves like they got some sense. But if we don't have standard operating procedures on basics, like we already threw science out the window, right? So for the last 2.5 years, it was follow the science. Where'd that take us? How'd that go? How'd following the science go? Because the science said 2 weeks to slow the spread, and it's been over 2 years now to slow the spread. It's been 2 years and almost exactly 2 weeks to slow the spread. Then they said, well, get the jab, and then you will be vaccinated from the virus. Now, what does the vaccine mean? Look at the definition of the word. It says you will be immune to a disease. That is the very definition. Rachel Levine, yes. Daberdeen, that is the person. Y'all look that person up. On the cover of a magazine, let me look that picture up, because I know I've seen that picture. They're on the cover of a magazine getting Woman of the Year. And I'm like, who the hell is this? How the hell they get Rachel, what was that name? Rachel Levine. And this person got Woman of the Year. This is a man. Because we have no standard operating procedures. This is not on Rachel Levine. Rachel Levine decided that they wanted to live as a woman, even though this person was born a man. Fine, if that's what you want to do. If Leah Thomas wants to live as a man, fine, go ahead. Live as a man if that's what you want to do. Here's the problem with it, is that when we start, now we're pushing women out of the way so that these men who decided that they're women, now they can put themselves on the front line in front of everybody else. That is bullshit. Here it is right here. That is a man who now lives as a woman, and the picture looked like this. They're on the cover of a magazine getting a the Woman of the Year award. Because we have no standard operating procedures, folks. What are our SOPs? When you work at a job, one of the first things they show you before you could even start working. When I worked at McDonald's, one of the first things they did was make me read the employee handbook. They made me go through all of this stuff to understand this is what you're allowed to do, this is what you're not allowed to do. Here's the uniform. You got to wear this every single day. Here's the kind of shoes you got to wear. Here's what time you got to show up to work. Here's what time you can leave. Here's how you know when you go on break. If you eat a cheeseburger and some fries, here's how you got to ring it up on the computer. Why do they do all that? It's rules. It's operating procedures. Is that so everybody is on the same page? There's a system in place, because if nobody's operating by the system and everybody just does whatever they want to do, then it's going to be a fucking zoo. It's going to be ridiculous, right? And that's what happens. Any of you, when y'all were in school, you know how you were in like 3rd grade or 4th grade and you realized that the teacher wasn't there that day and you had a substitute? What happened that day in school? Somebody tell me what happened that day in school when you realized that the teacher wasn't there and you were a kid and everybody was looking around like, oh, the teacher's not here today? What did that mean? That meant it was going to be a fucking free-for-all that day. It's going to be a zoo that day, because we knew there were no operating procedures. There was no process in place. There was no system in place. We didn't have to follow the rules that day. We could just have fun, and there was going to be a bunch of bullshit that day. And it was fun for that one day, but here's the thing. Yes, chaos, exactly. Almighty Belfort. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. It was fun for that one day, but what if the whole school year was like that? What would you have learned in school that year? Probably nothing at all. See, it's fun every now and then to have chaos, but if you have chaos every single day and your whole life is chaos, then what are you going to learn? Who are you going to become? Right, time to act before it becomes a zoo. And any of you who's known anybody, and this ain't to knock nobody, but y'all know what it is. Any of you who grew up around friends who didn't have a lot of home training, they didn't have a lot of standards at home, like maybe they didn't have parents looking over them, they didn't have rules, they could basically do whatever they wanted to do. Yeah, it looked fun, right? From the outside looking in, maybe you had all these rules. Like I had rules. Like my parents had rules. I had to go home, I had to do my homework, I couldn't hang out when I wanted to. My parents knew everywhere I was at, everything I was doing. I didn't have as much freedom as some of my friends, but in the long run, I ended up, kind of being more on that straight and narrow. I had more standard operating procedures. I got more, productive shit done over time. Those people who didn't have those operating procedures in place, a lot of times they end up in a bad space. Why is that? Because there were no rules. Like they got to do whatever the hell they wanted to do. This is what happens when there's chaos in place. You go to a business If any of you as a customer, you walk into a business and they're not upholding the rules, like they don't have to say hi to you when you walk in. The workers ain't trying to help you as a customer. All right, do you want to spend money there? Probably not. And if you do, you probably say, all right, I ain't never coming back here. I will never spend another dollar here. Why? Because there's no operating procedures. There are no rules. There are no standards. There are no systems. And here's the problem. Is one thing if the McDonald's 3 blocks away is like that, so you just don't go to that McDonald's. It's one thing if you don't like Uber, all right, I'll just get my cars from Lyft. It's one thing if you don't like that building over there, all right, I'll just go to that building over there. But what if the whole world is like this? What if the whole world is, okay, well, we don't know what the difference between a man and a woman, so all right, you can just do what you want. All right, we don't know, we just going to basically have one set of rules for these people and one set of rules for these people, even though the only difference between them is their color or their political affiliation or whether they identify as gay or straight or heterosexual or male or female. What are we going to do then? When there are no rules at all, then the whole world becomes chaos. Then it becomes a complete free-for-all and the whole situation becomes a zoo. That's the problem that we're dealing with right now. Yes, Aradu said you won't be mentally progressing. Brandon said, I did a competition in Houston. My team's the only team in Florida qualified against the other 15 stores. Might win $5,000 each. That's what's up. Congrats to you. Crate Master said it becomes GTA. Yeah, exactly. That's what it's going to be. It's going to become a complete free-for-all. And here's the thing. If the world becomes that, who's going to survive? The people who are going to survive are not going to be the people who are saying, well, I don't know what a man is, I don't know what a woman is. It's going to be the people who have men behind them, because the men are the ones who can put that work in. The men are the ones who got that muscle and can make things happen. So the men out there who are taking hormones so they can become women, all right, they ain't going to survive. If it becomes a jungle out here, and if it becomes a jungle, again, what are these LGBTQ people going to do? What are these men who basically cut their own testicles off and don't want to speak up and say something when they see something? What are they going to do in that situation? If it becomes a jungle, you know who survives? The savages survive. That's who survives in a jungle. The animals survive in a jungle. All right, not the pussies, not the soft people, not the ones who want to affirm LGBTQ when it ain't making no sense. This is why we need standard operating procedures, and we're losing them right now. A couple more things. The Russia-Ukraine conflict. Now, this is one where I do not pay attention to politics. I don't pay attention to foreign policies or any type of foreign affairs or conflicts. And this is something that I touched on in my live last week, which is, why are Americans, many of whom don't know a damn thing about Russia or Ukraine, many of you couldn't even point out Ukraine on a map. If they didn't put the names of the countries on the map, how many Americans do you know? All y'all watching this, what percentage of Americans that you know? Put this in the comments. What percentage of people that you know, if you showed them a map and said, point out the country of Ukraine, and there's no names on the map, they just had to point it out on the map. How many people do you know who could point Ukraine out on the map? Russia, you might be able to point out, because Russia's a very big space. But how many people do you know who could point out Ukraine in percentages? Of the people that I know, the country Ukraine, who could accurately point it out on a map, I would say maybe 7% of people. Brandon said 3%. Brandon's probably closer, probably about 3%. It might not even be that. All right, most people in America, a lot of these mofos ain't never even left the state, let alone have they left the country. Now, they making comments on the Russia-Ukraine conflict, don't even know what's going on, couldn't point out Ukraine on the map, couldn't name 5 cities in either one of these countries, but everybody's throwing out these opinions on the Russia-Ukraine conflict. And I saw Tim Ferriss, who I like Tim Ferriss. He's the guy who wrote the 4-hour books, 4-hour work week, 4-hour body, all that stuff. He wrote in one of his emails that he's taking all the money that he made, all the sales that he made that came from the country of Russia and the Ukraine, and he's given all that money to the country of Ukraine to support their war efforts and the situation and things like that. And listen, I don't know Tim Ferriss personally. I don't listen to everything that he puts out. Said Martin said the same people know Africa's a continent. Yeah, you're probably close. You're probably close to right on that. And listen, I like Tim Ferriss. I don't follow everything that he puts out on a regular basis these days, but I would bet Tim Ferriss could not, and this is the same thing I said in last week's live, how many Americans could, without Googling it and without repeating something somebody else said, explain to me logically and irrationally, not rationally, not irrationally, but dispassionately and logically, could explain to me the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Just explain to me what's happening, why it's happening, who's doing what, and what's going on right now. How many Americans could explain that? Probably the same number that y'all said can point the shit out on a map. Most people don't even know what the hell is going on. They're just repeating what the media told them, and then they're making these statements of support Ukraine. Like over here at the arena here in Miami, they got a sign that says support Ukraine. And then they got, in this building over here, they put up the flag, support Ukraine and the word freedom. Look, it's all good. If you want to support them, support them. My thing is, if you're going to come out in support of someone in the midst of a conflict, explain to me why you're supporting them. Explain to me why you have this opinion and not that opinion. Explain to me why this side is right and this side is wrong. Most people can't even explain it, yet they're basically hanging their hat on a perspective that they can't even explain. They don't even know what they're defending. And this is the part that I'm talking about when I talk about critical thinking. I talked about this in episodes 1827 and 1826 in my podcast. Critical thinking. The skill of critical thinking and habits of critical thinkers. A lot of people are not critical thinkers these days. They just take whatever they hear somebody else say, then they go repeat it, and it becomes their own belief. It becomes their opinion, first of all, and they repeat their opinion so often that opinion becomes a belief, and then they'll get angry and defend a belief that they don't even know where they got their opinion from in the first place. This is what people are doing these days, and the media in general, not the media, but media period. So it could be media like on this phone, it could be media like the news, the internet, newspapers, CNN, New York Times, social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everybody is indoctrinating people into these beliefs. And a lot of times people can't even explain where they got their beliefs from, but they will sit there and argue with you and get mad at you and try to cancel you for having an opinion that's different from theirs when they don't even know where they got their opinion from in the first place. This is an attack on critical thinking that is going on. Because we don't have standard operating procedures, because we can't even agree on basic things like what is a woman and what is a man, and people are acting like they don't know nothing. People are acting like they're stupid, and this is taking us all in a whole bunch of wrong directions. One more thing, and then I'm gonna take questions if somebody wants to ask a question. Kyrie Irving, Brooklyn Nets. Now we just heard a few days ago that Eric Adams, the new mayor of New York, he just announced that he is relaxing the mandates that require anyone who lives in New York to have a jab to play sports in New York. I'm not even going. We can't even call it the V word. We can't even call it the V word because it's not actually a vaccine. Because if it was a vaccine, then you get one shot and that means you're immune to the virus. But we all know that that's not the case. So it's not a vaccine. We'll just call it a jab. So any of you who got it, I ain't mad at you for getting it, but let's not call it something that it's not. But anyway, he puts out that if you don't have the jab, now you can play. And one of the reasons is because the baseball season, there's a lot of players on the baseball teams who don't have the jab, and it would hurt those teams, and it will hurt a lot of the commerce in New York City. So he relaxed it for all sports teams. Now Kyrie Irving can play. And here's the challenge that I have with this. And by the way, I'm on the record with this. Back in the beginning of the season, the beginning of the NBA season, y'all can look this up. I'm on the record, so anybody can check me on this if I'm lying. At the beginning of the NBA season, when the Brooklyn Nets announced that Kyrie, because he didn't have the jab, they told him he can't play. Because at first he was like, well, let me play in half the games. I'll play just in the road games because I don't have the jab. I won't play in the home games. The Brooklyn Nets told him, no, you can't play in any of the games without the jab because it would be like a distraction to the team. That wasn't the NBA's rule. That was the Brooklyn Nets rule. So they just basically told him you can't play at all unless you get the jab. Then they got a whole bunch of players got the virus. A bunch of players who already had the jab got the virus, so they couldn't play. So they needed players, and then they brought Kyrie back. First of all, if you want to talk irony, there's irony right there. They had to bring the dude without the jab back because all the people who had the jab got the virus anyway. Makes no sense whatsoever, but nobody made news about that. Nobody said anything. So he comes back. He's been playing in the road games. Now it's announced that he can play in the home games, and here's the part that most bothered. I wouldn't even say bothered. But the part that is most interesting to me, let's put it that way, is that Kevin Durant said in one of his press conferences maybe a week or two ago, he was saying, well, look, it was the game when Kyrie came to the game and he sat in the front row and then he went in the locker room. The Nets got fined for letting Kyrie go in the locker room. He could watch the game, but he couldn't play in the game. And Kevin Durant's like, well, it's people in the arena who are not jabbed, and Kyrie, he doesn't have the jab. He can watch the game, but he can't play in the game. That makes no sense. The mayor needs to do something, this, that, and the third. He said that, and then LeBron James said something on Twitter about why Kyrie should be able to play, et cetera, et cetera. And this was just in the last week. LeBron James says something, and probably a couple other players said some things. Here's the part that I'm calling bullshit on when it comes to those players. But Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, not Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and everybody else. Where the fuck was y'all at the beginning of the season? Because at the beginning of the season, when the Brooklyn Nets said to Kyrie, you can't play unless you get the jab, why didn't Kevin Durant say something then? Why didn't Kevin Durant say, yo, Joe Tsai, owner of the Brooklyn Nets, why didn't he say, hey, Mr. Owner, we need Kyrie Irving because he's a fucking all-star. He's not an MVP. He's an Olympic gold medalist. He has won a championship. This dude averages 25-something points a game. Why would we ban somebody who scores 25 points a game just because they won't get the jab? Even if he's only playing half the games, Kyrie Irving in half the games is better than whoever else we got in all the games. We need Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving should be playing it. Why didn't Kevin Durant say that at the beginning of the season? Why didn't LeBron James say something to defend Kyrie Irving at the beginning of the season? All these dudes, a lot of these NBA players, and they all try to pretend like they're activists. All these dudes lost their voice and lost their testicles as soon as the NBA told them, hey, take a knee. In the summer of 2020, they all took a knee before the game. When they told them, all right, we're going to ban Kyrie, ain't nobody say a fucking word. When they banned Kyrie, when the Brooklyn Nets banned Kyrie at the beginning of the season, y'all tell me, name one NBA player who spoke up and defended Kyrie Irving. Name one. Somebody said, surprised LeBron's still supportive of him. No, see, LeBron, and this is my point. Arvin, this is the point. LeBron James didn't support him until it became cool and everybody else was doing it. Then these dudes find their testicles when they hear everybody else saying the same thing. Then all of a sudden they got a voice. But when it was unpopular to defend somebody who didn't have the jab, wasn't none of these motherfuckers saying shit. Kevin Durant ain't say shit to defend Kyrie Irving when the Nets banned him. Kevin Durant and Kyrie on the same team. If I'm on the same team as Kyrie Irving and my boss says Kyrie can't play in any of the games because he doesn't have a jab, I'm not going to sit there and just let that happen. I'm going to say, yo, fuck that. Kyrie Irving, this dude averaged 25 points a game. We need him. I don't care if he only plays in half the games. Let him play in those half. We need Kyrie Irving. If I'm Kevin Durant, I'm like, yo, we need Kyrie in the road games. Mr. Owner, I want Kyrie playing in the road games. James Harden was on the team half the year. Why James Harden ain't say nothing? James Harden quit on the Houston Rockets. Then he just quit on the Brooklyn Nets. But before he quit on the Nets, he was on the Nets. Why didn't he say, yo, he could have said this to the media because clearly these dudes don't have a problem speaking to the media, right? They don't have a problem using their voice and using their platform. Why didn't any of these guys use their platform to defend Kyrie Irving at the beginning of the season? Don't defend him now. Now everybody's cool with bashing the COVID. Everybody's cool with bashing the COVID mandates now, right? Now everybody's like, I don't want to wear a mask. Everybody's like, you ain't got to have a jab. Everybody's like, no mandates. Everybody's cool with saying that now because now that's what everybody's saying. Now it's cool to say it now. All of a sudden everybody got a voice. Where was your voice when it wasn't cool? That's what I want to know. See, if you're a real activist and you're really using your platform, you're really using your voice, you don't just speak up when you're saying something that everybody else is saying. Because if you're saying the same thing everybody else is saying, then we don't need you. All you're doing is repeating what everybody else already agrees to. You ain't saying nothing. When are you saying something that everybody else is not saying? And that's my challenge with all these NBA players. But let's just talk about the most prominent guys. Kevin Durant, that's your teammate. You sat there and let him get banned by your boss, and you ain't say a damn thing. Kevin Durant ain't say nothing in the media when Kyrie got banned. All he said was, well, hopefully this gets cleared up. We want him back. We want everybody on the team. Why didn't Kevin Durant just say, yo, I don't agree with what the Brooklyn Nets are doing. Kyrie Irving averages 25 points a game. That's my man. We decided to come here together. If he don't want to get the jab, he don't have to get the jab. They should let him play in at least the road games because he makes our team better. Why didn't Kevin Durant say that? He had all year to say that. When the NBA season started? November, December, January, February, March. He had 5 months to say that. Kevin Durant ain't say a motherfucking thing. Now, just last week, now Kevin Durant like, yeah, they need to do something to let Kyrie Irving play. Where was you at the last 4 months, Kevin Durant? Where were you, LeBron James? LeBron James like the voice of the NBA, right? He wants to be a global icon, right? Where was he at all this time? Where was all the other players in the NBA? Don't all these guys want to use their platform, right? Ain't these the same guys that wanted to quit playing basketball in the summer of 2020 so they could be activists, so they could be out in the streets and lend their platform to the demonstrations that were going on? Isn't that what they wanted to do? Weren't they all about to quit playing basketball 2 summers ago just so they could be out in the streets with the demonstrators and use their voice? Why didn't anybody use their voice to defend their own coworker when he got banned by his own boss for not getting the jab? Why didn't nobody say nothing? Somebody answer that question. Why didn't anybody say anything to defend Kyrie Irving? I defended Kyrie Irving in November. I didn't wait till it was cool to defend Kyrie. I defended Kyrie when everybody was bashing him for not getting a jab. Stephen A. Smith was bashing him. Mike Wilbon and all these dudes on ESPN was bashing him for not getting the jab and saying Kyrie's selfish. Who's it? Kendrick Perkins, Richard Jefferson. They was bashing him for not getting a jab. Kyrie's selfish. Kyrie only thinks about Kyrie. We don't know what we're going to get from Kyrie. He needs to go get the jab. He's hurting his team. They need to get rid of Kyrie. That's what they were saying on ESPN. Where was the NBA players to defend their own dude? Their man, this dude is like the vice president of the Players Association. Chris Paul, he's the president. Why Chris Paul ain't say nothing? Why didn't anybody defend Kyrie Irving when it wasn't cool to defend Kyrie Irving? That's what I want to know. These guys are allegedly activists. Where were they at? So I see some of y'all got some comments. Lamo by, you're right. Manuel, correct. Arbino say he probably scared of the cancel culture. You can't cancel LeBron James. How can anybody cancel LeBron James? LeBron's the biggest name he's the biggest name in basketball, let's just say. He might not be bigger than some football players like a Tom Brady, but he's the biggest name in basketball. He got who knows how much money he's made. He got all these endorsements. He's still an all-star. He's still one of the best 20, he's probably one of the best 15 players in the NBA. You can't cancel LeBron James. You can't cancel Kevin Durant. What you canceling Kevin Durant from? It ain't like Kevin Durant don't do he's not like as big in the media as LeBron, but as far as hooping, you can't cancel Kevin Durant. Why didn't they say anything? This is my whole point. These dudes only have nuts when the media tells them to have nuts. They only got nuts when they're saying the same thing that everybody else is saying. But when their man, Kevin Durant, your man, got canceled from your own job. You work at the same job as him. Your job said he can't come to work unless he gets the jab. Kevin Durant did not go to bat for his man, at least not publicly. Now, if he did on the low, again, he went to bat for him publicly 2 weeks ago. Why you ain't go to bat for him 4 months ago when it wouldn't have been cool? This is my whole point, is that these dudes only want to speak up when they're saying something that they know is going to be publicly accepted. And that's the part that I don't respect. These dudes are not activists. They are sheep. Belfort said, we defend our livelihood and brand. Celebrities aren't any different. They listen to publicists, give them the green light. Yeah, well, Belfort, I get what you're saying. That's the bullshit that I'm pointing out. Here's the thing that I'm saying to you. 2 summers ago, when it was cool to bash cops, it was cool to bash the government, it was cool to bash America as a whole, it was cool to bash anything and everything, they were all speaking up crazy. You couldn't get these dudes to shut the fuck up 2 summers ago. Now this year, these dudes all had to get the jab. They all had to wear a mask. Like, these dudes you come out of the game in the NBA, you got to put a mask on to sit on the bench, and then when you get back in the game, you take the mask off. That makes no fucking sense. I ain't heard not one NBA player say that that's ridiculous. Why is that? Why hasn't I ain't heard not one NBA player say this makes no sense that we got to wear a mask to sit on the bench and then take it off to get in the game, and we got to get a up the nose test every single day when we come into the arena and before the game. Why hasn't not one NBA player spoke up against that? These guys are allegedly activists that are using their platforms, and they're all about change, right? Isn't this all about the movement for change? Is this the change that they wanted? To just keep following whatever they get told? These guys are your activists? These are the guys that y'all follow? These are the guys? This is what I'm just trying to figure it out. That's what I just want to know, where these guys' nuts is at, because allegedly these guys only got nuts when the media tells them to. And this is the part that I'm talking about here, going all the way back to Judge Brown, who says she don't know what a woman is. And you know what? She might be right, because I'm starting to get confused as to what a man is. Because a man's supposed to have nuts. And having nuts means when you see something that doesn't make sense, you speak up on it and you stand on it. And these guys who are allegedly activists, they're allegedly, these guys are supposed to be the picture of masculinity, professional athletes. They're the best athletes in the world. They make a lot of money. They're big and strong and tall, and they run fast and they jump high, and they get paid for their physical abilities, and they ain't got no nuts. When it comes to speaking up against something that doesn't make sense, if it doesn't go along with the media narrative, they don't have nuts. So you know what? Judge Brown might be right. Maybe we don't know what a woman or a man is, because I'm not sure with some of these guys. That's the thing that I'm seeing. But y'all tell me. Somebody let me know. Nicholas said they scared. Well, yeah, you 100% right. Arvin said maybe Durant was against what Kyrie was doing at the time but didn't want to admit it. Well, possibly, but then listen to what he said last week. Last week he said it's okay. He said Kyrie should be allowed to play if people could come into the arena without the jab. So, yes, you are right. There's plausible deniability there that maybe he didn't like that Kyrie didn't have the jab. But at the same time, these guys, here's my argument, is that these guys are the best athletes in the world. They're in the best shape of anybody in the world. Why do they need to get the jab? The jab is for old, obese people who have comorbidities. So if you got cancer, or you got some kind of heart disease, or you're like 300 pounds overweight, or you're like 75 years old, then maybe you might want to go get the jab, because that virus might kill you, because you might be on the way already. Regardless of the virus, you might be on the way to dying anyway. So the virus might just push you over the edge. And I know people who died with the virus. They didn't die because of the virus, but they had other shit going on. That they had other stuff happen in their lives. Then they got the virus, and then they ended up dying. And then some people try to say, well, they died from the virus. No, they didn't die from the virus. They died with the virus. But y'all get the point. Kyrie Irving could get the virus right now and be straight. Now, he might be sick for a couple of days. Maybe he'll miss a game, but he'll be fine. Right? Kyrie Irving ain't going to die from the virus. I'm not going to die from the virus. I probably already had the shit. I ain't got the jab. I'm not getting any jabs. And here's the other thing. What's in the jab? All y'all any of you who got the jab, and listen, I ain't saying it to bash you. If you got the jab, I ain't mad at you. If you wanted to get it, you get it. It's your body, it's your life. Your body, your choice, right? You do what you want to do with your body. If you got the jab, what's in it? What did you put in your body when you got that jab? Now, a professional athlete, these guys make money based on what they put in their body. Now, those of y'all who are old enough, y'all remember when baseball had all the scandals and shit? Like with the steroids, like Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Alex Rodriguez, damn near everybody from that era. All these guys were taking, or they got found out they were taking steroids or performance-enhancing drugs, right? And a lot of them try to defend themselves by saying what? What a lot of those baseball players say when they got caught? They said, well, my trainer gave me this, or I was taking this supplement, this over-the-counter supplement. I didn't know what was in it, so I didn't know. And then what do people say to attack them back? They said, well, ignorance is not an excuse. You can't say that you don't know what you're putting in your body. You're a professional athlete. How do you not know what you're putting in your body? That's ridiculous. Bullshit. You get suspended. You're canceled. You got to know what you're putting in your body. So these guys are professional athletes. All right, they make money based on their bodies. They make millions of dollars based on their bodies. These guys got $1 million insurance policies against their physical beings. What's in the jab? So all of them ran out and got it. What's in it? Like, how are you going to put something in your body you don't even know what it is? You're a professional athlete. And all of you who are watching this, if you're not a professional athlete, what's in the jab? You got it. What's in it? I want to know. I'm putting something in my body. I want to know what it is. If you can't tell me what it is, I ain't getting it. Fuck you. I'm not getting it. Now, let me be clear. Again, I'm not knocking none of y'all who got the jab. And I ain't mad at you if you got it. If you got it for extenuating circumstances, like, for example, you're in college and the college says you got to get the jab or you can't come to school, I get it. I ain't mad at you. I understand. Sometimes in life you got to play the game. And if you're young enough and healthy enough, you could probably get the jab. Like, I can get the jab and I'll be fine. Even if there's some bullshit in there, I'll survive. Whatever the bullshit is that's in the jab. If you got a job and they said you're going to get fired unless you get the jab, you had to do what you had to do, I ain't mad at you. But at the same time, if they're mandating that you put some medicine in your body, and we all know that the medicine is not even blocking you from getting the virus, what the fuck is in the jab? I mean, I think this is a legitimate question. Somebody needs to answer this question. What's in the jab? Where's Dr. Fauci at? Where Dr. Fauci at? I ain't heard from that dude in a minute. Anybody know where Dr. Fauci at? I ain't heard from dude in like 6 months. Where is Dr. Fauci? Remember that Dave Chappelle skit? Where is Ja? Where is Dr. Fauci? Where is he? I ain't heard from dude in a minute. All right, ever since this thing started calming down, I ain't heard from this dude. Where he at? They got him hiding like Joe Biden was hiding before the election. He didn't disappear. Where is he at? And what's in this jab? That's all I want to know. MPJ says, am I against vaccines? No, I'm not against vaccine. What vaccine you referring to, MPJ? Because the jab is not a vaccine. The definition of a vaccine means you will be immune to a virus. So I hope you're not talking about the COVID jab, because that is not a vaccine. By definition, it's not a vaccine. MPJ says they save people's lives. Oh, here we go. All right, let's get into this. Okay. PGA says Kyrie always doing too much. That's why. Well, listen, I get with Kyrie. He did do some stuff. Let's see. So Kyrie did I don't know why he wanted to get traded from the Cavs. I thought that the Cavs had a damn good team before he forced that trade. And then he went to Boston, and they were better the year that he missed most of the games and the year that he played. And then he left Boston. And then he went to Brooklyn, and it was fine. But then he did that thing where he left for like 2 weeks, and he never explained why he left for 2 weeks. That part, I'm looking at him. I was looking at Kyrie a little sideways on that. And we still don't know what the hell happened. But the jab part, I don't hold that against Kyrie. As a matter of fact, I applaud Kyrie for what he did with the jab thing, because he was the only dude who had the balls to speak on it. And Kyrie's not the kind of guy. He and I don't have the same kind of disposition, I'm the kind of dude who I would have called motherfuckers out and been more combative and direct about it. Kyrie's not that kind of guy, but I respect the fact that he stood on what he believed. And I'm looking forward to hearing what he has to say about it. But I respect the fact that he stood on it. Now, the part where he left the team for like 2 weeks, like 2 years ago, and disappeared and just came back because he just wanted some time away, that part I'm like, all right, what are you doing, dude? But this part, no. This part is not wrong. AJ says, everybody claims to be woke when it's agreeable. Well, that's what woke means. It just means agreeable. So I'm 100% on that. Always Training says, probably ain't got money stacked up. Maybe. Manuel says, people only speak up for their own benefit. True. Brandon said, many people are nice but not kind. Nice not out of fear. Kindness for the greater good. Yeah, I like that differentiation. That is true. Let's see. Daberdeen said, I take plenty of things. I don't know what's in it. Nah, I don't know about that, Daberdeen. Like what? What do you take that you don't know what's in it? I don't take anything I don't know what's in it. I don't take medicines. So for those of y'all who don't know me, I don't take any kind of medicine. Just yesterday, actually, one of my coaching clients, he hit me on, he sent me a message because he had started doing this new lifting program. And he's like, yeah, he's like, my legs are real sore, so I'm thinking about taking some aspirin or some Tylenol, and hopefully it feels better tomorrow because I'm going to run tomorrow. And I said, dude, you don't need to take aspirin or Tylenol. You're sore from lifting weights. What are you taking medicine for? Don't take medicine. So I don't take any kind of medicines. If I'm sick, I will lay my ass down. I will have some chicken noodle soup, and I will go to sleep. I ain't taking no medicines. I don't do that. I remember just last year, as a matter of fact, last year around January, right, my knee was bothering me. I went to a doctor. I went to the same doctor that sees the Miami Heat players. And it cost a lot of money. That shit was like $300. I went to see this dude. He talked to me for like 10 minutes, $300. And he was suggesting that they give me a cortisone shot in my knee. Then they're going to destabilize my knee for like 8 weeks. I would have to wear a brace that I can't bend my knee. And then they would have me go to some physical therapy for like another 6 weeks and then see how my knee felt. And I'm thinking about that shit. I was talking to my girl about that shit. It's like, no, fuck that. Don't get no shot in your knee. And I talked to my trainer, Maria, from when I was playing. Those of y'all who watch my hooping videos, remember Maria from my videos? I was talking to her. She was like, no, don't fucking do that. Go and do some corrective exercises with your knee. See how that goes. So I went to see my dude, Brian. He lives right up in the Mimo district, like maybe like 15 minutes away from me. I went to go see him. I paid this dude $100. We did a 1 hour session. He gave me like 8 exercises to do to work on my knee. I did those exercises for like 6 weeks. I ain't had a single problem with my knee since. This dude, the doctor, this is the team doctor from the fucking Miami Heat. All right, y'all understanding me? The team doctor from the Miami Heat. This dude was going to put a cortisol shot in my knee, so I couldn't bend my knee for 8 weeks, put a brace on my shit, then make me go to some physical therapist, some slapdick to physical therapist for 6 weeks. That shit would have cost me like $2,000 total, and then see how my knee felt. I went to this dude who's a physical therapist. He gave me a bunch of exercises. 1 hour. I paid this dude $100. I did the exercises for 6 weeks, and I ain't had a single problem since. That was over a year ago, and I run 3 times a week, at least 6 miles every single time. How many miles is that? You do the math. This is the kind of shit when people will just tell you shit, and if you don't do your own research, you will be following some bullshit and not even know that you're following some bullshit. And this is the Heat pay this dude. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? This ain't some dude off Google. This dude works in a fucking hospital. All right, and that shit, I paid $300 to go see this motherfucker. This is how it goes, y'all. And this is what happens when you don't do your own research. So the most important thing you got to do these days is get your own information. Listen to other people, but you got to get your own information. Do not let other people tell you what to think. So Daberdeen, I don't know what you're talking about. You said you like Hennessy, you don't know what's in it. All right, cool. Alcohol, fine, but even alcohol is a label on it, right? Daberdeen, ain't it a label on the Hennessy bottle? You can see what's in it. It tells you what's in it. So you actually do know, or if you wanted to know, you can read it. But the jab is not like food from the grocery store. It ain't no list of ingredients that you can Google and see, all right, what the hell am I putting in my body? You don't know what that shit is. And that shit coming from Bill Gates. Who knows what Bill Gates got up his sleeve? Always Training says Iris sea moss, black seed oil, damn sure ain't in the jab. Yeah, I agree with you. Ain't no Iris sea moss in there. Daberdeen said, I don't know what's in my vitamins. But again, it's on the side of the bottle, Daberdeen. Read the side of the bottle. It tells you what's in it. You can read it. There is no ingredient label on the jab. That's my point. If you want the information, you can get it about your vitamins. Just go to the store, pick up the bottle, and read the shit. You can take a picture of it, Google it. You can look up every single ingredient in there and know exactly what you're putting in your body with a vitamin, Hennessy, anything you can buy from a store. The jab does not have that. That's my point. And with pro athletes, this is the bigger point. These guys make money based on their bodies. And when baseball players said they didn't know what was in something and they got caught juicing, people didn't want to hear that shit, that they didn't know what was in it. But now we supposed to get a jab, we don't know what's in it, and we supposed to accept that. Do you notice that? Like, do you understand the change in the narrative? That's the point that I'm making. That baseball players weren't allowed to say they didn't know what's in it, but we're allowed. We got to just go take the jab without listening. And then they say, "Oh, get a booster, get a booster, get a booster." I got friends, personal friends. These are people who I know, like, trust, love, respect. Family members. They done got like 5 of these motherfuckers. These shots. They done got 2 shots at the beginning, and then they got every booster that came out. They don't know shit about what they're putting in their body. They don't know a damn thing they're putting in their body, and they're defending it like they're healthy, like they're saving lives. What you put in your body, you're saving lives. This is my point. You can't defend something if you don't even know what it is you're defending. And this has been the whole thing with the whole jab, this whole follow the science bullshit. You don't even know what you're defending, but people are defending it, and they'll argue with you. Like, people will argue with me about this. Don't even know what's in it. All right, you got the jab. All right, you mad at me because I said I didn't get the jab. All right, what's in the jab? All right, you got it. What's in it? All right, you don't know. So how you going to argue with me about it? That makes no sense. And again, I'm not knocking any of y'all for getting it. If you want to get it, do what you want. But I'm just posing this question. I'm just posing the question, do you know what you're putting in your body? If you don't, then I would suggest you do something to change that situation. Daberdeen said, I got it because my job said if I don't get it, I'm out. I get it. You got to play the game. You got to play the game. I ain't mad at you for playing the game. But at the same time, I would be mad at my job and mad at the system for forcing me to put something in my body when I don't know what it is. That, I would be resentful about that. I'll have resentment like that. Remember that Beyonce song, Resentment? I'll have resentment for that. They made me put something in my body, I don't know what it is, just so I can keep my job. I'll be pissed off about that. But that's why I'm glad that I didn't have to make that decision, but I ain't mad at people who did. I ain't mad at you for that. Manuel says, all about control. Facts. Daberdeen said, I ain't giving up 6 figures. I get it. I get it. Hopefully whatever you put in there don't kill you. So you keep getting that 6 figures. Arbino said, Kyrie also out of bread for that. Gotta respect it. Yeah, he did. He might get it back, though. If Ben Simmons could try to get his money back, Kyrie can get his back. Manuel, appreciate you. Arbino said, I eat McDonald's burgers, but I ain't checked what's in it, can't lie. Again, my point. You could go to McDonald's website and they'll tell you what's in the burger. And that ain't no burger, Arbin. I don't know what that is you eating in McDonald's. That ain't no burger. It ain't no hamburger in that burger. A hamburger is supposed to come from a cow, right? All right. It's like, that burger is like 2% of that burger is cow. All the rest of that shit is some manufactured shit that they made in a lab. Basically, it's the vaccine. Basically, you eating the jab. When you eat McDonald's, if you can eat McDonald's, you can take the jab. So if you've been eating McDonald's, you can take the jab. I guess you'll be all right. Daverdeen said, money ain't not everything until one doesn't have it. Facts. I agree with that. Armin said, I ain't trying to see my high school hero in a wheelchair. Nah, I ain't getting no jab. They would have to tie me down, and even then, they had to fuck me up because I'm fighting back. I ain't getting no jab. Always Trainer said probably why the Heat ain't won shit in a minute. Maybe the Heat's in first place right now, at least as of today. But they've been losing though, so I think they might fall out of first place. Armin said, to be fair, the doctor showed me the whole label of what's in Pfizer when I took it. Can't lie, I don't remember what the fuck was on that though. Yeah, and here's the other thing about the doctors, Arvin, is that they got paid for every jab that they gave out. That's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. And any of you never read this guy named Thomas Sowell? His last name is Sowell, Thomas Sowell. He's a black guy, old guy. And one of the things that he always talks about is that human beings respond to incentives. People do not do things out of the kindness of their heart. They respond to incentives. So if you give people an incentive, they will respond to it. So let's just say, y'all know how sometimes they was giving people money to get the jab? I know they did that in New York. They did it in certain places. One of my best friends, she lives in Arizona. And she works at a school. I think she's a principal at the school. And she posted on her Instagram that if somebody came on, it was like a Saturday. So she went to the school. She said, if somebody comes and gets the jab today, they get like a free hot dog and a soda. Or some stupid shit like that. And I ain't mad at her. She's watching this. I'm not dissing you, but you know what you posted. And then it was other places where like you get $500 for getting the jab. Or in New York, they would give you a free slice of pizza or and people were doing this. Even here in Miami, it was this place in Wynwood where if you got the jab, they would give you like a hamburger and a beer. for getting the jab. This was like back in 2020 when the shit first hit. And I'm like, people are just going to trade their health for a beer and a hamburger. And I'm like, yo, that's fucking crazy. And the thing is, people respond to incentives. That's the whole point that I'm making here. Doctors, when they give you the jab, they got paid for every jab that they gave out. So they are incentivized to make you want to get the jab. So whatever they got to show you or tell you or do to you to give you the jab, they give you the jab. All right, that's what they do. Any of you have kids. When you have a kid and your kid gets like vaccines, not the COVID vax, but all the other quote unquote vaccines, who knows if they're vaccines these days, every jab that your child gets, the doctor and the hospital get money for giving your kid those jabs. They're not giving you those jabs because they're trying to make sure your kid is healthy or make sure your kid lives. That's what they tell you. That's the good reason. They don't give a fuck if your kid lives. They ain't never gonna see your kid again in life. Why do they care if your kid lives or not? They giving you that jab because they make money for giving you the jab. Incentives, folks. Human beings respond to incentives. We do not respond to doing things out of the kindness of our hearts. Read my favorite book. It's called The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. One of the chapters of the book, I believe it's chapter 12. He said, if you want people to do things for you, appeal to their greed, appeal to their selfishness, give them what they want. Do not appeal to somebody's mercy or gratitude. In other words, if you want somebody to do something for you, do not tell them why it's going to be good for you or how it will make them a good person or how it's going to help you out or why they should just help the world. Nobody give a fuck about that. If you want somebody to do something for you, tell them what they're going to get out of it. You are much more likely to get them to do something if you offer them something than ask them to do something for you. Charity has its limits, folks. All right, charity has a limit. All right, we know there's a lot of homeless people out here and people starving and stuff like that. But how often do you walk past that person, with the little bell? What's the name of that company with the little bell? When you walk in the store and they ring the bell and they try to get you to put money in the little red jar, Red Cross or whoever they are. Now, how often you walk past them and ignore them people? All the time, right? Even though you know it's starving people out here in the street. Why? Because they're not offering you an incentive. All right, feeling good is not an incentive. It's not a strong enough incentive. People do things out of self-interest. And doctors give you the jab for self-interest. They give your kids all those vaccines for self-interest. They circumcise your baby, if it's a boy, out of self-interest. When you go to a doctor, for example, this doctor that I went to, the Miami Heat doctor for the knee, if I would have got that shot and got my knee destabilized and went to their physical therapist and all that stuff, you know how much money they would have made off of me paying them? All that stuff would have went in dude's pocket. And now me going to my dude Brian and getting it taken care of on my own, guess how much money they made off of me? 0. So which one do you think he wants more? It had nothing to do with me, because guess what? I went and saw that doctor in January of 2021. Let me ask you a question. Somebody answer this question for me. Put this in the comments. How many times has that doctor or his assistant or anybody who works at his hospital, how many times has any of those people reached out to me since then and asked me how I'm doing? How many times has any of them reached out to me and asked me, hey, Dre, how's your knee? Just wanted to make sure everything was okay. How many times has any of them asked me, Dre, are you still running? Do you still run 3 times a week? Have you been able to compete in those 10Ks? How many times has any of those motherfuckers reached out to me to find out about my knee? Because if you think it's about them doing it out of the kindness of their heart, then it shouldn't matter if I got it from them or I got it from somebody else, right? They should just care about me. How many times has any of them reached out to me since? Somebody answer that question. Always training, it's an entrepreneurial spirit. You're right. Somebody said you have a video of vitamin supplements or ingredients you take. I don't, Nicholas, but I'll make one because I don't take that many. Charlie said, "Are healthy fast food places actually healthy?" Like, name one, Charlie, so I can tell you so we can see what you're talking about. Charlie said they should give incentives for going to the gym. There is an incentive, being healthy, but see, that takes a long time. That's the problem. Always training. Say, I'm scared of 48 Laws of Power. Yeah, Salvation Army. Yeah, how often do people ignore the Salvation Army? All the time. Yeah, everybody got it right. 0. They ain't never reached out to me. So if it was all about me, right? Somebody said, did Brian hit me up? Brian's my dude. I've known Brian since like 2011. So yes, he follows me on IG. And any of y'all in South Florida, just look at the people I'm following on IG, because I'm only following like 78 people. And look up Brian. He is I trust him. And he gave me that shit, and that shit worked. And like 2 months later, I was coming in first place in the 10K in my age group. That's facts. So yes. So these doctors don't give a fuck about you. They doing that shit to make money. That's their job. They're at work. That is a business. Medicine is a business in the United States. It is not about your well-being. It is not about your health. It is about money. It is a business. It has nothing to do with how healthy you are. They don't give a fuck about you. If you stop paying them, guess how often they're going to check up on you? They don't give a damn. Only time they're going to check up is if they think they can make some money off you. And that's facts. Any of you tell me what doctor has called you a year later if you stop paying them? None of them. Not one of them. Because they don't give a damn. That's all about money. Yes, this is their business. This is their job. And I ain't knocking them. Listen, I'm not knocking doctors. So if there's a doctor watching this, I'm not knocking any of y'all who's a doctor. But this is the game that we're in. People respond to incentives, and America is a capitalist society. There are good things about that, and there are trade-offs that come with being a capitalist society. One of the trade-offs of a capitalist society is that everybody is driven by the incentive of how can I make money. Not everybody, but you get what I'm saying, semantics. A lot of people are driven by how can I make money. The medical system is about money. The political system is about money. The government is about money. Education is about money. They're supposed to be about other things, right? But they're not about those things. They're about money. So y'all just got to know what's going on. I'm not saying we need to tear it down. Keep it as it is. I don't mind capitalism. I like capitalism because I like to make money too. But at the same time, you just got to know what the game is so you don't get played. All right, that's why it's called work on your game. Now see this, work on your game? That doesn't mean we got to make the game perfect. It just means you got to know what the game is so you're not getting played like a dumbass because you don't know what's going on. That's why all these things that I'm talking about here, as long as you know what's going on, you won't get played. It's people who don't understand the game, they're the ones who get played because they don't understand it. It is a game. All right, it is not all in your best interest. It's a game. Everybody's playing for their own best interest. You just got to look out for yourself. Somebody said, the older you get, the higher you place in those marathons. Yeah, that was a 10K. That wasn't a marathon, Armin. 10K is like 25% as long as a marathon. But yes, 10K. I got another one coming up April 23rd. That's my next one. So I appreciate it. Charlie said, the healthy fast food I was asking about is Chick-fil-A and places like that. Is it really healthy or marketing? I wouldn't call Chick-fil-A healthy, Charlie. Now, if I had to go to a fast food place, I'd choose Chick-fil-A over like a McDonald's or a Burger King. Yes, because it's less greasy. But I still wouldn't put it in the healthy category. The closest I would come to healthy fast food, I would do like fast casual places. So maybe like a Chipotle or something like that. Now, as far as healthy, I don't even know if I'll call Chipotle healthy, but it's not as bad as McDonald's or Burger King. But you would have to define what healthy means. For you to really answer the question, you got to define what is healthy. What does that mean to you? But any kind of greasy shit, like I worked at McDonald's, so. And any of y'all saw the movie Super Size Me, you know that McDonald's food is not actual food. You leave some McDonald's fries sitting on the counter for 30 days, nothing's going to happen. They don't get molded. It ain't going to be no ants or roaches or nothing because it's not actual food. It's like cardboard. It tastes good. McDonald's fries are good as shit. But it's not real food. That's it. It was proven in that documentary. You know why McDonald's doesn't do supersized meals anymore? It's because of that documentary. That was like 20 years ago. Armin says, somewhere I went to this new gym, some guy was trying to sell me personal training, fix my posture, but I declined. Hasn't hit me up ever since. Yeah, I mean, because he's in the business of making money. I mean, I get it why he didn't hit you up. It doesn't mean he wasn't trying to help you, but you got to pay him to get the help. So again, capitalist society, this is just the way that things work. All right, so I think we went long enough here. Who got a question? Somebody got a question, go ahead and post it in the comment section. I might take a couple questions and then we'll wrap this up. There was a guy who had asked me about jabs, but he left. I don't think he wanted to hear it anymore. If you got a question, go ahead and post it. I might take a couple questions, then we'll wrap it up. Armin said, when you worked at McDonald's, did they ever tell you why you don't wear gloves? LOL. No, we weren't even thinking about wearing gloves. And actually, though, when it comes to sanitation, if you wear gloves, the thing is you can't wash your hands when you got gloves on. So if you're going to wear gloves, so let's say you wear gloves to make a burger, and then your hands get dirty because you touch something. Now, you got to take those gloves off and put on another pair of gloves so that they're clean. Now, you're spending so much time taking off gloves and putting them back on. First of all, it's time. And second of all, think about how many pairs of gloves McDonald's going to go through in a day as a company, in the country, in the world, every day. If everybody got to do that every single time they do something, they be spending more money on gloves than they're making on food. So it makes sense that people don't wear gloves. You just got to trust the people who are washing their hands. But at the same time, since we know that everybody's not always washing their hands, this is why we have immune systems. And this circles back around to the whole jab conversation, that if your immune system is healthy, you can get sick and take in germs and you'll still be okay. It takes more than germs to get sick. Tony Robbins said that in one of his documentaries. It takes more than germs to get sick. Every day you're being exposed to germs. Like I'm sitting outside right now on the balcony There's all kinds of germs floating around in the air. People sneeze outside. Motherfuckers, somebody smoking weed a minute ago. I could smell it. I don't smoke weed. I ran outside today. You know, you play sports. People are sweating, leaning on you, and you get all kinds of germs you're taking in all day, every day. Germs alone will not make you sick. If your immune system is strong enough, you can survive germs. You can get the virus and like it's going to kill you. Again, only time the virus kills you is if you were already fucked up to begin with. Yeah, so no gloves. Lay Low Visual says the biggest benefit of living in Miami. Let me show you. This is the biggest benefit. This is my view right now. So this is that's Biscayne Bay y'all looking at right here. And if y'all look all the way out in the distance, that's Miami Beach. All the way out there. This is the biggest benefit. It's like 80 degrees. It's the end of March. It's 80 degrees outside. As you can see, there's no clouds in the sky. This is the biggest benefit of living in Miami. It's a beautiful place. This place is beautiful. It's just like it looks like on TV. Miami. So shout out to Miami. Trade-off is not cheap. Arvin says that's true because I've seen every other place do it, but never McDonald's. Yeah, they would go through so many gloves, it'd be crazy. May says, what do your weightlifting workouts consist of, or do you jog and practice cardio boxing? I don't do cardio boxing. I do the actual boxing training. I got a boxing trainer, and I don't jog. I run. Jogging is like easy pace. I actually run for like speed and pace. So yeah, I do weightlifting. I do only compound lifts, so deadlift and bench, or I'll just use bands. So I'll do some combination of that three, and then I do boxing a couple times a week, and I run a couple times a week. Armin says secondhand smoking. Right. Said the Spanish women, Latin women. Spanish is from Spain. Latin is all Latin countries. But there's other colors too. Most of the time you don't know where they're from till you talk to them. But there's a lot of Europeans in South Florida as well too. So a lot of times you don't know where somebody's from till you talk to them. Said most people don't cover their mouths when they cough or sneeze. Yeah, exactly, Jay Smooth. That's my point. Like a lot of people cough and sneeze, don't cover their mouths, and you're breathing in those germs. You can't see them, but you're breathing them in. But it's not like you're sick every day because your immune system can fight that shit off. That's the whole point. That's the reason the immune system exists, is that we can take in germs and we're not going to get messed up. It takes more than germs to get sick. I mean, that's a quote from Tony Robbins. All right, so Arvin said some sparring videos that be lit. All right, I might. Bell said, any more talks about frameworks in the future? I plan on joining Bulletproof Mastermind, but not yet. Yes, as a matter of fact, my next Work on Your Game live, Bill, is going to be all for the thought leaders and the brand builders. So I started putting together the material for that just yesterday. So probably in the next week, I'll be finished putting it together. Then I'll decide on the date. It's going to be a 2-day event. It's going to be virtual. So this will be online. My next live event is going to be a virtual event. So all y'all can watch it from your computer or from your phone. It's going to be a 2-day event. The next one is going to be specifically for the brand builders and the thought leaders. The first day is going to be about understanding the mindset and the strategy of how this entrepreneurship and branding thing works. And the second day is going to be about the execution and the application of those things. So my next Work on Your Game live 2 days virtual event is coming up soon. I'll be announcing that soon. So stay tuned. So Bell, yes, of course we're going to talk about frameworks. Jay Smooth said you're going to do boxing one day. That's what's up. AJ said, am I afraid of having kids? No, I'm not afraid of having kids. No, I will go and listen. I have kids. I will be at the school cursing motherfuckers out. I will be at the school. They will have to call security on me because I'm not going to sit there and let this shit go on. I'll be cussing out teachers, principals, whoever. Oh, not for the ring. Yeah, me too. Yeah, I ain't trying to be a boxer. I make money off my face. I can't be putting it at risk in a boxing ring. Cali Runner, I appreciate you. Bell said we'll be over the weekend. No, it's probably going to be during the weekdays. I'll probably do it like a Thursday and Friday, Bell, but even if you can't make one of the days, you could just watch the replay. As long as you signed up, you can see the replay. Arvin said the beanie, yes, is at workonyourgame.com/merch. Workonyourgame.com/merch. MERCH. Merch. That's where you can get the hats. Anybody asking about the hats? Workonyourgame.com/merch. All right. So I've been talking for long enough. So I might do these like once a week. Yeah, we talk about current events. I ain't going to do it every day. But I think there's enough shit happening. And I like talking about these social issues and things going on. But all of these topics that I talked about, I'm going to go deeper on in on my Work on Your Game podcast. That's where I go deep on each topic individually, where here, as you can see, I'm just going off the top and just talking. But when I really start to flesh it out and think about it, that's what I'll do on my podcast. It comes out every single day. It's called Work on Your Game. It's on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud. It comes out on YouTube too, but it comes out on audio first, and the YouTube videos come out like 90 days later. So if you watch me on YouTube, you're seeing the episode that already came out like 3 months ago, just so y'all know. Jay Smooth said, I saw play ball. Yeah, I used to play ball. I don't play ball anymore, but I did play ball, yes. Correct, Bell, that's correct. I have not put out the dates or the prices or anything yet, but I did put out the topic. The topic will be for thought leaders and personal brand builders. That is 100% true, but nothing else has come out yet. But it will be 2 days, it will be virtual, it will be online. That you do know for sure. Will it be an email or text? It'll be everywhere, Bell. You won't miss it, trust me. When it comes out, you will know about it. All right, it's my responsibility to make sure you know about it. You will know about it. You're going to be back hooping. That's what's up. All right, everybody. So we're going to wrap this one up. Everybody have a good Saturday afternoon. You already follow me on IG. Hit me on the text. That is my text number right there. You get my daily motivation every day, 305-384-6894. If you didn't order my book, The Third Day Yet, it's the link in my bio. Y'all have a good Saturday. Work on your game. Be out of here. And a woman is someone with a vagina. A male has a penis.